eigentlich ein Live-Event und den werden wir jetzt schauen eigentlich. Okay. Okay, ich zähle mal. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, was passiert da? Inside Unreal.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Inside Unreal, a weekly show on Twitch where we learn, explore, and celebrate everything Unreal. And hi everyone who's watching from Party Royale. Exciting to have you here. This is our annual year in review live stream where we look at the exciting happenings in the last year in the Unreal Engine and Epic Games communities. I'm your host Victor Broden, and joining us today from the comforts of our own homes are Tim Sweeney, Epic's CEO and founder, Brian Karras, Technical Director of Graphics, Grayson Edge, Senior Cinematic Designer, and last but not least, Amanda Shade, Fellow Community Manager. Welcome all to the show today. We have plenty of exciting topics to talk about, but first I would like to let everyone know in chat that you can submit questions for our guests today at twitch.tv/Unreal Engine. And now let's dive into today's first topic. I think without question, the hottest topic in the games industry today, or this year, is the release of next-gen consoles, which brings many advancements in hardware and core technologies. We know that lots of studios are already shipping next-gen games with Unreal Engine 4. And I'd like to talk a little bit to you all about what is it about the next-gen consoles that has you the most excited about the future of the games industry?
I can go on that. Immersion, for me, is going to be something really cool. I think that the amount of immersion and realism in video games is really exciting, and the amount of technology that's behind that. I think that, you know, when I was younger, there was a lot of things I wanted to see with video games, and I feel like we're now just getting into that area where it's just becomes very realistic and very immersive and very cool. So I think there's a lot of really exciting stuff for the player, but I also think for creatives, I think there's a lot of great stuff as well. It's inspiring to create.
I'll have to hold myself off from nerding out too much, but there's a lot of great advancements that happen in this hardware that enable a lot of new software techniques. The RDNA architecture for the GPUs for these new consoles is great. The amount of power is just as far as the pure like teraflops that these things can push out is
Also Leute, ich werde mich jetzt stummen,
damit ihr es hört. Some real like full-powered CPU cores opens up a lot of possibilities from the gameplay code perspective. It'll be a lot less trouble for us to ship games that would have been fine on a PC but would have struggled on a console. Now that we've got real CPU cores that would be similar to what you have on the PC, making something that can work across both is going to be a lot less difficult. And then of course the other major change is the SSD hard drives and the I/O infrastructure supporting them. Like being able to stream with an extremely low latency and high bandwidth off of those drives enables, I mean, the obvious things of less load times, which really helps gameplay just as a gamer, being able to die and then reload immediately.
That's pretty cool.
Not having to wallow in your...
so much better. But it also enables things that aren't just that sort of like typical like load screen, how long is my load screen, but it enables us to be able to move things in and out of RAM very quickly and a lot. So like what used to be such a critical component, which is how much RAM did the machine have, is still, you know, important. How much working RAM you have still matters, but it matters a lot less if you can cycle things in and out of RAM from the drive. It just enables a lot bigger worlds, richer, more vibrant worlds, because there's a lot more data that can be there, and we can move it in and out really fast.
Yeah, it's the immersion stuff that really gets me excited. The technologies you're talking about, that's the stuff that's
enables
that.
All that enables the immersion. Like that's the sort of foundational atomic blocks that enable that sort of immersive thing.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And here at Epic, what did we do to get ready for all of this in terms of preparing Unreal Engine for next gen?
Well, we've been preparing for a while. There is evolutionary jumps that happen. Like we've been working on a virtual texturing system in the past that can support like really large resolution textures, and we can get that having the low latency, high bandwidth SSD drives is something that supports that. But then we also for UE5 decided to invest in a number of technologies that are really only possible with the next generation hardware. The two of which that were like key things that we showed off and in our last tech demo was nanite virtual geometry, like micro polygon level rendering tech, and Lumen, our dynamic GI system that gives like really beautiful lighting that's completely dynamic with no bake times. Those two technologies together are really kind of this like perfect recipe for enabling these new experiences and visuals that are like far beyond what we could have even like imagined possible with the previous set of techniques.
If you are unaware about what Brian is talking about right now, a little bit later we're going to show you a video that showcases some of these technologies. Super excited.
Sorry, I jumped the gun a bit.
That's okay.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, like these efforts were pretty long tail efforts. Like it's been investment that we've been doing over multiple years of looking forward and where we thought the technology was going to be. We had access and collaborated with both Sony and Microsoft on what this next generation hardware would be. But some of it is also a bit of just guessing where things are going, what sort of possibilities that we had to exploit, and try to get our foothold in there early.
Yeah, there's been some amazing wizardry in this generation on the code side, but content is also a really important consideration. Unreal Engine 5 can render 100 million polygon geometry, but that doesn't mean an artist can just sit down and create one over the course of an afternoon or a week, right? So Epic's done a huge amount of investment in next generation content pipelines and building content libraries, like with the Quixel Megascans library, bringing Quixel into the Epic family and making all of the content available to Unreal Engine developers, so you can, like we did with the Nanite demo, just bring in all of that content that's been scanned from the real world, and then adjust it and tweak it to meet your needs and build entire environments without having to build every piece by yourself.
That's really, really exciting.
Yeah, it's an incredible data set. The quality of those assets is really high. I remember some years ago when I was first talking with artists about photogrammetry, where there was initially a fear of, oh, you're going to make our jobs obsolete. And in fact, it's quite the opposite. It's like, really, we're just getting rid of some of the boring tasks. Like how much creative effort is it going to go into making just like a boulder? Really, your creative output is really about what you use that thing for and to make something interesting out of it, not the amount of hours that go into just like replicating some real world object.
That's right. It's really quite astonishing. And for anybody on the stream who hasn't seen it, Google Quixel, Quixel, and just check out the massive library of scans of assets all around the world at movie quality resolution that's now possible to render in real time.
Yeah, and they keep adding more and more all the time. It's really, really incredible seeing all the work they're doing.
Using real-world scans, in fact, so they're actual real-world items. We're going to go back a little bit to talk about Unreal Engine 5 in just a bit. Before that, I wanted to talk a little bit about what happened back in August when Epic gave Fortnite players on iOS and Google Play a choice between Apple and Google Payment and Epic Direct Payment, passing on savings to players. Both Apple and Google retaliated by blocking Fortnite updates and kicking the game off their stores. Now, Epic has taken up the fight for fair terms on digital stores in an effort to give developers a more level playing field and to open up more choices and freedoms to everyone. Tim, would you want to give us a little bit of information on what all this is about?
Sure. This is one of the most important things that we've done in our history. All developers kind of live under the thumb of Apple and Google, who exert total control over the supply of apps for iOS and Android. And they do this in slightly different ways. Apple by explicitly banning all competitors, and Google by just making it harder to install competing software. But this is a fight for the entire game industry and the future of the industry. if these monopolies can not only control the supply of games, but also control curation, and say that entire categories of new applications like xCloud and NVIDIA's GeForce Now and Google Stadia cannot exist on iOS devices, then it's going to be a really bleak future for everybody who is a creator of any sort. So we decided to fight this. And you might have heard of the code name that was leaked at some point. It was called Project Liberty internally. And our aim is to really change the status quo and open up the app stores on mobile platforms so that all developers have an equal chance. And every component of the ecosystem, from payments to stores to engines and friend services and everything else, can compete freely. Resulting in better deals for developers and better deals for consumers as well. This effort launched back in August, but we've already seen some major changes in the mobile ecosystem. Apple lowered their revenue
Hey,
from
Digga,
30%
was
to
geht, Rain?
15% for
Da
developers who
beginnt
make less
ein
than $1 million
Live-Event.
a year. That's really interesting because it means that that's about 98% of developers benefit from that, but only about 5% of purchases are made from the games built by these small developers, and so it really doesn't help consumers at all, and it doesn't do anything to restore competitive pricing that would exist if these 30% taxes weren't being collected. And so this is an ongoing fight. The cases will go on. The Apple case is set for trial next year in May. The Google trial 2022, and there's going to be a lot happening in the meantime on the regulatory front. It's really a great opportunity for the community to come together and fight for our futures as creators, so that every creator in the future, including those who haven't even been born yet, have the chance that I had when I was a kid, which was to build software on my own, to release it directly to gamers, and to not have to ask a middleman for permission to do those things.
Exciting times, special times for sure. A lot of unusual things have happened this year. That's definitely the case for all of us. Why don't we go ahead and play the free Fortnite video for all of you who haven't seen that.
Today, we celebrate the anniversary of the Platform Unification Directives. For years, they have given us their songs, their labor, their dreams. In exchange, we have taken our tribute, our profits, our control. This power is ours and ours alone. We shall prevail.
Interesting references there.
Nice hat, Tim.
The hats are key to the battle.
Excellent. So that's, if you hadn't seen it before, there it was. It's a great testament to the initiative at large. So moving on to probably Unreal Engine's biggest announcement of the year. Earlier, we announced Unreal Engine 5. It was our first showcase, or the first showcase of pixels running live on the PlayStation 5 with Lumen in the land of Nanite. So if you haven't seen that video, we'd like to go ahead and show it for you now.
I'm running on the PlayStation 5. Alter, ist das geil, Mann. Unreal Legend 5, so wird's aussehen. Alter! Wie lange das dauern sollte. Digga! In der PS5 sogar so. Ist das echt oder ist das ein Spiel? Das denke ich mir gerade nach. Wenn es ein Spiel ist, Alter.
Nice bugs. It might be.
Das haben sie zu gut gemacht, Alter. The fuck, das sollte ein Spiel sein. The fuck, Alter. Alter, Diggi, wie geil. Oh mein Gott, wie geil. Tschüss. The fuck? Unreal Engine, Alter. Das sollte urlange dauern. The fuck? Wie lange sollte denn das dauern? The fuck, no. The
So
fuck?
the demo showcases both the new virtualized polygon geometry technology, Nanite, and Lumen, a fully dynamic global illumination solution. And these are what Brian was sort of mentioning earlier. Would you kind of dive into that a little more and actually the impact that'll have on developers in this next generation?
Yeah, sure. It's with Nanite, you get this ability to bring in film quality, like super high poly assets without the need to do major optimization steps beforehand. This like trims down the amount of time it takes to take a really high quality asset, bring it in, and be able to see it live, and not just see it for the first time, but to be able to actually ship that asset at its full quality and build a whole world with thousands, hundreds of thousands of those
fuck war das geil.
Millions, I guess we actually support. Sometimes these numbers actually get away from me. You can place millions of these objects.
Das war jetzt geil, Mann.
It's pretty incredible. And then Lumen for
ich bin sprachlos.
the real-time global illumination.
Fuck?
You can give like actually dynamic changing light sources, moving objects around, and not have to go through these like long bakes.
In nur einem Spiel.
The process, like for a lighting artist to be able to just put their lights where
Alter,
they
wie
want
geil.
to place it and just see it live, just real time. You know what you see is what you
geil,
get. So
Alter.
are really powerful from the content creator
Wie
and
geil.
for the game, for the worlds to be more dynamic. So those were two really interesting technologies, really cool stuff that we showed off in the demo. But there's a lot more that is coming along with UE5. A lot of content workflows, like animation technology, sound system. There's a ton of cooking pipeline, editor workflows. That like there's the list goes on and on. Things that are going to be in UE5. And I think what's also cool here is like this is just where we're starting. Like this is the beginning. Like this is just the beginning of the generation, and like this is already what stuff looks like. It's really exciting to see where we go. It's like all the different ideas that we have yet to actually try, different pieces of technology that we haven't really been able to push to their fullest extent.
The fuck is going on? What the
aspects of the hardware that we're just now able to exploit. So it's really exciting to see like, this is where we're starting.
Yeah, I remember watching this demo for the first time and getting so many goosebumps, just like in awe at the story and all of the pieces behind it, and knowing what and like you said, thinking about the potential of the games coming in the future. So it's like, can't imagine what we're going to see even beyond and from the folks in our community digging into this. And it's just a really exciting time to be in development, right?
Yeah, it really is with cinematic.
The fuck is that?
Especially as well. It just there's so much great quality stuff that you can get with this technology. It's so exciting, beautiful stuff.
Yeah, a big aspect of what we're driving for
Wie
UE5
geil, Alter.
is this sort of just works as a pillar of the engine.
Sprachlos.
Like, we want to make it so
Wie
that
geil das
content
Spiel war.
creator can
Obwohl es schon
make their assets,
war,
make their
aber
content in
Alter, ich
the
bin
way
einfach
that
nur
is easy for
sprachlos.
them to make.
Wie
In a
geil
way
das
that
war.
hits the detail level that they want. They can bring it into the engine, or create it in the engine in that way initially, and not have to work through so many technical details and what it takes to hit your real-time frame rates, or what it takes to actually realize the thing that they're trying to shoot for. Try to minimize that gap between what they imagined or what was easy for them to create and what they could ship, and shrink that gap down to as small or if nothing at all as possible, so they could just, you know, create the thing and ship the thing.
The fuck?
And for those that are super excited to get their hands on these tools, you know, we'll be going into preview in early 2021. This will be the time to try them out. We'll be trying to gather as much feedback as possible so that we can really make a solid launch, which we're aiming for at the end of 2021. Also, in line with our UE5 announcements, we did revise our royalty system, you know, to requesting only 5% once $1 million is earned. Tim, would you give some feedback on like what inspired us to make this change? It's a pretty significant jump from our old system.
Yeah, it was a funny process. Somebody suggested.
Okay, Leute, ich werde einen Stream jetzt enden.